This time I'm gonna do a shibori with two colors, and we'll pick some different colors. I folded my paper down into this rectangle, but I didn't fold it into the smallest one because this time I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna fold a triangle. So you can try all different kinds of shapes. You can try starting your paper out with a different shape like a square or a circle, and I'll show you some different kinds of results you might get from that. So this time I took the same shape, the rectangle, folded it all the way down, and then did a triangle on my last step. And for this one, I'm going to put my 3 type binder clips over here to add that resist. And so now I'm going to have some fun with color, and I want to see what 2 colors do together. Now, food dye is a little bit different than paint, which you might be used to, or your markers, or even crayons. If you remember, your red, yellow, and blue are your primary colors, and so when two primaries blend, you're going to get a secondary color. So I'm going to use these 2 primaries, but yellow food dye does not really look yellow straight out of the bottle like this, and I think I'll just show you what it looks like. So this time I added some regular paper clips. We'll see what that does. You know, wherever it's holding things tight, it's going to create a little resist. It's not going to make the exact shape of this paper clip. This is not that precise, and it's really not meant to be. Okay, so, but it's going to offer a different kind of a resist. So I'm going to show you what the yellow food dye looks like right now. And the cap is yellow, and it says yellow, but it comes out orange, and that has to do with how we add it, you know, to foods and like frosting, or we if you're dyeing eggs or something like that, you're gonna put it in some water and water it down. So this is a really intense yellow. In order to make food things we want yellow, it's actually a little more orangey. You can see that real clearly here. And I'm going to go ahead and do both sides in the same place on that one. Again, remember, just squeeze very gently. If you give this a hard squeeze, it's going to squirt out, and not only will you probably get it somewhere you didn't mean for it to be, you'll just waste your food dye. And, you know, that's no fun, because then you can't make more stuff with it. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to add the other primary color, red. All right, so the red is definitely red. Nice and dark. Ooh, you see it bleeding and spreading, and I'm just gonna touch it into these white areas. All right. There. And I'm gonna let it do its own thing here between the clips. I'm not trying to get it in between the clips. I'm gonna do that edge there. So we're gonna see how the triangle fold changes the design a little bit, and we're also gonna see, ooh, look at that. We've got a cool, like a sunset color blend going on here. Now I'm feeling like I'm doing tie-dye. All right, so we've got this blending. So our yellow, which is really orange, isn't it, is making kind of a red-orange right there where the 2 are touching. And they're kind of blending together, making what we sometimes call an ombre or gradation, one color changing to a deeper version of itself. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and I've got to let that one dry, and then okay, we're going to take a look at our yellow or orange and red, and this is the one where I folded the triangle. So you see that triangle flap coming in done, and as we unfold it, you can see what happens on one side is mostly repeated on the other. But in shibori, you get these kind of uneven spots, which is pretty cool. And there it's opened again. And see here. Oh. Got a couple more. Ooh, okay, so you see this kind of X pattern happening because of the triangle folds, or diamond pattern if you look at all of it. So these little white areas are where we made the resist by clipping it down and folding it, and the dye has really soaked through the paper. Let's open it up all the way. There's one more fold to undo, and There we go, and you see a diamond come right out of the middle. So here you see a really different pattern than the one we had in the first example. And here's something fun in the first example. Here's the very first one I did, where it looked like there was almost like a blue skull here. And so you see these kind of blotchy shapes and then these rectangular window-like shapes on the outside. And I did that a second time so that I could have one ready to show you right away. And when I unfolded the other one, it has the same types of shapes but in a different order because of how I folded it, I think, or how I was holding it. But you can see these kind of shapes were in the middle and then these were on the outside. They almost look like flowers out there. So that's really fun. I did the same thing twice, but it came out two different ways with similar shapes. And then there was the round one that I did. Now on this round one, that dye really soaked through. So I think that if you do the scrunching, you're really not going to get much white, but you can see rings or circles of darker areas there. It looks a little bit more like a traditional tie-dye. And then here's one that I did when I was practicing, and here I had some other colors. I had a purple that comes out real pink and a blue, and here I can see, I tore my paper just a little bit, but again, that's going to happen. That's okay. That's tissue paper. It did some neat things here though, where it bled out and that blue traveled all the way through the purple, or the purple broke out into different colors. I'm not sure which, but that's really lovely. And I did this one on a circle, and you can see where a lot of the white was resisting. I had done a circle here that I folded like a taco and a quesadilla and a piece of pizza, and then inked it or dyed it. And so the center, it almost reminds me of a butterfly, right? So you could draw on top of these as well and turn them into other things. Here's a different variation where I did triangles and folding, and here's one just so you know they don't all come out great. Here's one that I did. I folded this into really tiny pieces, and that's totally fine. Like I said, you can sometimes find something else in there, and when I looked at this one, I thought, it kind of looks like some kind of a cartoon character, so why not turn it into one, right? So I found this little guy here. He's got some claws. So there's really nothing that can go wrong. It can always be turned into something. Who knows where that'll end up. But it's a lot of fun, and in another video I'm going to show you how you can take some of your shibori, and here's one where I did a lot of colors, and add it to glass to make something that looks a little like stained glass. So search around for another video from me about how to do that.